So remember on Instagram when I posted you sending me a screenshot of your fertile window being open. I need you right now to explain yourself. Y- Explain yourself. Why were you sending me screenshots of you telling me that you're fertile? Like what
First of all, I actually don't remember
you did.
specifically doing that.
I remember.
I know that's what's actually kind of weird is like, did I do that? But I must have.
It's and if it's not you, then we got problems that another woman is sending me a picture
No, it
that
was
she's
me for
fertile.
sure. I just don't know if my hormones were very clear in why they did it.
So I'm telling you did it. Now explain yourself. Why are you sending me? What are you trying to say?
I want another baby.
That's crazy.
Listen, I will be honest with you. I've had so many conversations with so many women. I have wanted this feeling of not wanting another baby to go away for 4 years.
That's wild.
Four
Because
years.
like I feel like I'm just done. I feel like and not done in like I'm tired of kids. Like, I love kids. I
Right.
thought I can have more, but I just feel like man, like we're good. We're good, man.
I get that. And I wanted that feeling as soon as we had Brooklyn because Brooklyn was so traumatic.
Right.
I wanted that feeling of like, no way, we're never doing that ever again. But from the moment I held her in the NICU at 3 pounds, I could not get myself to say it. And
Hmm.
then I kept having conversations and I have conversations with family saying like, yeah, but you should just be content at some point. And
Right.
I would be like, okay, I'm content. I'm good. And then I'd have a dream that I had another baby boy. Like
Jesus.
there
Ugh.
I mean, yesterday I was talking to someone and this lady had the cutest puppy. It was not a puppy, it was a small dog. And I was like, maybe I could try the dog thing.
We're
Like,
not doing a dog. Nope. Nope. We're not doing a dog, especially living here in California and people's obsessions with their dogs. Hey, I'm just gonna say this. You know me, babe. We're Haitian, and you know what Haitians think about dogs.
I know. So
We're
then
not doing a dog.
I guess
I
it's
just
another
I
baby.
think the biggest okay, so this topic. So, okay, this topic is gonna be interesting today, everybody that's listening and watching, wherever you're watching from. Matter of fact, I'm take a moment and say shout out to everybody that's watching on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I think we've seen some people that
Yes.
just watch from the Buzzsprout
Uh-huh.
um, browser. People that's I think some people watching from like Google Podcasts or something like
Yeah.
that. And then for those that are watching right now on YouTube, what up? What's up? Tell us how you got connected with us. If you're just watching, you haven't hit subscribe yet. What are you literally waiting for? Well, obviously, I know actually people watch before they subscribe. I do the same thing.
That's true.
But if you do feel like this stuff is bringing you value, these conversations, you're enjoying them, jump in, man. So let's dig.
Let's dig.
Every single child that we've had, which we've had two, changed everything about us.
Yeah.
Like when we had our first kid, I thought I knew you. We
Right.
waited what? We waited four
4
years. So
years.
we had him the next month. We celebrated our 4th year
Mm-hmm.
anniversary.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, we were locked. We were, babe. I thought we were good. I had you figured out.
Same.
You like we had a good, connection. The synergy was there. Like
Did you use the word synergy?
I just used synergy.
Why?
I just wanted to use it. I haven't used it in a while. So I feel like we had synergy, and it was good. But when you became a mom and I became a dad,
It
we
turned our
weren't e-
world upside down.
we weren't even the same people anymore. I'm like, yo, who is this chick?
Yeah, I remember it really changing my viewpoint of you. I
Right.
really thought up until then that you could not make mistakes, that
Mm-hmm.
you were never wrong of what to do, where to go, which direction to drive, what choice we should make. You just were never wrong. And having our first child was like, oh crap, he's human
Yep.
and he can make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to forgive him for the mistakes that he's made with our child.
Yeah, and even our second one, right? So when we first had Jordan, who's now just turned 10, which is crazy, to think that we have a 10-year-old made a big digit. He made a big situation out of being double digits.
Double
Um,
digits are a big deal.
he calls himself a MIT, which is an MIT man in training, which is funny.
So cute.
A man in training. I was like, okay, take out the trash, man. So, but when we first had them, babe, like we some of our biggest fights, our best fights, I guess you can say,
I don't think they were our best. They were
worst fights,
biggest. Yeah, the worst.
our
Because we
biggest.
weren't good. I don't think we were good at fighting at that point.
Yeah, because I think what people don't understand is that, we're husband and wife, and I'm learning you as a wife. You're learning me as a husband, and you become a mom.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning you as a mom, the mother of my child, and you're learning yourself as a mom. This kid is learning you as a mom. You feel like you have to prove to yourself you could do it. You feel like you have to prove to me you can do it. You're proving
100%.
to your mom, my mom, all the moms, especially we was in Florida, man. Them Caribbean moms, boy, everybody thought they knew what to do.
100%.
And so here you are trying to figure yourself out. Oh, and I'm a dad too. I just took on a new title called Dad. And now all of a sudden, we're both who we thought we knew each other very well are trying to figure out our new titles.
And I know there was a lot of pressure on myself. Before we had kids, I was always the person like holding that baby. Like if we had friends who had a baby, I'd hold the baby. Like I remember so many people being like, "Oh, you're just gonna be such a good mom."
Yeah.
And there were times where I'd be so mad and be like, "What the heck? I was supposed to be really good at this, and this sucks. This
Right.
I'm not good at this. This is hard." Like, and I would be like, "People told me I was a natural, and this is not coming naturally." And so there was so much of that. But more than anything, I remember so distinctly. I stayed at home with Jordan for the first year or so. I worked a little bit in the salon, but mainly I was home with him. And I can cry thinking about it.
Yeah.
I remember the morning I went in to go get him out of his crib, and everything felt different.
Hmm.
And it was clearer. And it was like a fog went away that I didn't know was there. And I remember so distinctly, he was 6 months old.
Hmm.
He was 6 months old.
So where were you the whole 6 months, girl?
I was in the fog.
Struggling.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you were in the fog.
It was genuinely hormones and sleep deprivation. And like, I didn't know I was in that fog until I woke up that morning and I was like, wait a minute, everything is so much more clear. And that didn't mean that fights stopped or struggling. It was all still a challenge. And as that baby grows into being a toddler and toddler into a child and a child into a teenager, we continue to grow as parents.
Yeah.
And so we have to give ourselves that space to learn as they grow, we grow. But man,
It's
that
crazy.
6 month mark was a big change.
Yeah. And I think like I'm gonna put my foot right here. Is that okay?
Go for it.
I guess we live here. I think
It is our couch.
yeah, it is our couch. I think the biggest challenge was, man, giving each other grace, like while learning our new roles.
Yeah.
Think about it. I was a kid, grew up with my siblings, my mom, my dad in our household. I'm figuring out myself as a young boy. I become a teenager. I'm figuring myself out, discovering things about girls, discovering things about myself. And then I become a young man, a young adult, right? And then I'm in my 20s where I get married. I meet you late teens, which we'll talk about that in another episode, more of our story, right? But I think about, man, okay, I find this woman. I spent most of my life living in my own room in my own bed, and all of a sudden I have a woman in my bed, and you're my wife forever, right? Because we believe in that, and we're learning each other. We have enough grace for each other. Now all of a sudden, overnight, we become parents.
Right.
And in your mind, I think, especially for girls, the whole time growing up, you always imagine what things are going to be like when you're a parent or when you're
For sure.
a spouse, right? It's like Kevin from Home Alone. When I grow up and I get married, I'm living alone. It's like, wait, what? Like, you just imagine what it's going to be like. So I just imagine, oh, I'm going to be this type of dad. I'm going to be this type of... And then you have your kid and you're like, whoa. But here's the thing. What we forget, and this is what I forgot, was that, oh, wait, someone else is also parenting the same child too.
Mm-hmm.
And they're bringing in all of their culture upbringing,
yes.
everything that they've learned, all the isms that you don't even know that your parents even instilled in you.
Right.
And now you're parenting and you're like, duh, this is what you do to babies. You know, it's like when we first had our first dog. Like when we first had a dog, we just feed him stuff off the table. That's how I thought. And you're like, no, we get him dog food. I was like, why is there food for dogs? They're dogs. We give them bones. We'd get them little bags, you know, like the Tyson chicken, like the chicken wings. Why are you yawning right now?
I'm so tired.
What are you tired from? Like the people are here watching us on the video, they're
I
listening, and you're
know.
straight up just
I'm
yawning.
not drinking a Celsius, so maybe that's why.
This Celsius is banging right now.
It's gross.
Um,
Well, that flavor is
but
gross.
yo, that's the craziest thing, right? You never imagine,
True.
like we don't think in our heads what it's gonna be like to raise up a child, and you don't give the other person grace to bring what they've
Yeah, I was gonna
had
say
growing
the
up.
space.
Yeah.
So like I would think, no, this is what you do. You
This is what you do.
heat them up, you sterilize the bottle parts, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And then you're like, honestly, in our case, it was a lot of why. You're just that character.
I'm just why you're like, yes,
you're
the baby's
just
gonna
a wire. And
bro.
I'm like, because
And you're
that's
like-
what you do.
And you're like, the baby's gonna be in our room for 6 months, sleep in our room, and I'm like, well, why? We gotta.
yeah,
you mean
kicked that baby out in 4.
you mean I had to assemble that whole crib for like 4 days with all those nuts and bolts
For it to sit empty for 6
for
months.
it to sit empty? I just
Actually,
didn't
I was
understand.
just telling someone the other day how, like you'll have to put the baby in the room, but it'll feel so weird. But I slept so much better once Jordan was in his own room because
Bruh.
I didn't hear every wiggle and grunt and breath.
had-
And like,
yo.
I was so panicked all the time. And
I-
I slept so much better once he was finally in the other room.
We had that eviction notice for him typed up, ready, notarized. It was ready. The moment was like, "Yup,
He was
you're
hanging on
and
his
you're out of
play-
here.
His playpen.
You're out of here." And look, I'm gonna tell y'all this for parents: when your kids start getting older and they start walking, and they're like, "Well, they're still gonna come knocking on my door." Lock your door at night.
Pierre, we do not lock our door, but
Lock your
but
door at
we
night.
don't put them in our bed. We are
No, if
we
our
are
kid,
about them.
if our kids come knocking in our door at night and they want to sleep in our room, you're sleeping on the floor.
We put them on the floor. We felt like a lot of families are like, put the kids in the bed. We get it. No judgment for us.
No straight judgment.
Oh,
Oh, for me.
okay. From Pierre, he's judging you. I'm not judging you. But for us, we just needed some boundaries. And so I put them in the floor. It makes them feel safe if they were scared. It makes them feel close to mom and dad, but it still keeps the mom and dad connection because I will say in this stage of my life or of our children's lives, I find it harder to put you first rather than the kids.
Right.
Because the last month I have offered my leftovers to our son before I offered it to you.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
I would be like, Jordan, 2 of my leftovers. And Pierre's like, hello.
I'm like, I'm the man in the house. I get the leftovers.
I paid for it like I worked for it. Give me my leftovers.
Daddy's gonna eat everything that's left.
And that's so true. And naturally, I'm not that person. But just all of a sudden, recently, because Jordan's growing and eating so much, I'm like, Jordan, you want the rest of my food? Like, I just don't even think about it. So now I'm in this season of like, okay, wait, let me think of you first before the kids. The kids are actually fine now.
Yeah.
At 10 and 4, they're genuinely fine. They're fine.
And I think what most parents struggle with, or like new parents struggle with, and they don't even know it until years later, is that they lose themselves in parenting.
So true.
They lose themselves in their kids. And here's the crazy thing: I think our kids need us to be passionate about something.
Well, and passionate about each other.
Our kids need us to love each other. Our kids need us to have our own gifts and our own dreams.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they don't know how to verbalize those things.
Absolutely
It's
not.
our job to teach them of like, no, buddy, no, son. Hey, baby girl, this is what daddy's into. This is what here's what daddy's dreams are. And what happens is most new parents, they lose themselves in parenting. They lose themselves in their kids. And I remember
And
early
it's
on,
so easy to do that.
it's easier to, and early on in our relationship, as parents, like I started, having some animosity towards you because I felt like, based off of your upbringing and how you knew it and how you imagined it, that, and obviously that's something that you deal with as a mom in general, that it's easy to just lose yourself in parenting. So you put every idea, every dream, every goal, everything that you've ever had,
Yeah.
you put it on pause unintentionally. You don't make like this
Right.
explicit decision and you don't send out this decree saying that I'm pausing all my dreams
Right.
to raise my children.
Right.
Right? Nobody ever does that. No one ever does. Oh yeah, hold on that contract. I'm gonna go ahead and be somebody's mama.
For 25 years, and then I'll come back around to it.
Yeah. Or nobody says, hey, hubby, I love you, but every single night I'm tired raising these kids, so I can't have sex.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, what? I mean, we dealt with that early on because there's some times, I mean, babe, you remember them the moo-moos and them little stuff you used to go to sleep in?
What?
You remember them? Remember I had to confront you one time? I said, babe, the outfits that you be wearing to bed, they're not blessing me.
I do not remember
You
that
remember
at all.
ripped
No.
up shirts and ripped up clothes? Like
I
it
know.
was.
I remember though a few months, like last year, I told a friend, I was like, man, I don't want to be that wife, but I really sleep in some busted clothes. Because basically what I do is I will thrift, and then these like super cozy clothes will get a stain on it, but they're so cozy. So then they just become house clothes, but they're house
And
clothes
then
that
they
have
become-
stains on it.
and
But
then-
they're so comfortable.
And then they transition from house clothes to sleeping clothes.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm like, what are all these bumps, dots, rips, holes, and stains on these things? Like,
I never thought I'd be that wife, but I am.
But here's the crazy thing: is I think it started after we had kids because when we first got married,
Yeah,
the
that's
stuff
different.
that you was wearing to bed, I was like, dang, get over here,
Okay.
right? It was like, dang, that it
Babe,
had holes in
okay.
all types of.
Pierre, stop. But
after
I
we
will
had
say-
kids,
I know.
you
You know
started
why?
nursing?
Hold on. You know
Bruh.
why? It's because I almost cussed. Because you are asleep in bed. That is why our outfits change. It's because somebody has to get up with the kids in the middle of the night. Who's doing that? It's me. I can't wear anything sexy or anything like get over here if I'm up roaming the halls in the middle of the night at 62 degrees in our house.
That's true. That's totally fine. Then how come? This brings me to another question. How come you don't even have a robe?
Wait, why? I guess we should have retitled this this episode "The Questions That Pierre Has About Motherhood" because this just
I'm like,
seems
you
like
could have
rapid
you
fire.
could have went to bed with lingerie,
my gosh.
stuff that has easy access, right? And you got your robe right there on the bedside. I get it. Like, okay, you know what? It makes sense because if you wear some stuff, it might be a little weird. You're sitting there, and Jordan comes by your bedside, and you got a boob hanging out.
Pierre, we have to edit that out. Cannot do this. I'm gonna pee my pants, and that's from having 2 kids.
So he's like, "Mommy." All I'm saying is,
All we have to say though, no, it needs to be said. It needs to be known that the arrangement we have worked out with kids though is that Pierre does not do nights.
I don't.
So Pierre sleeps all the way through the night, and the children can be up. I mean, right now
I
we're
sleep
in a
really
great
good too through the night.
Right now we're in a really great phase where the kids sleep all night. But like there have been times where I'd be up 4 or 5 times a night with Brooklyn. And you slept through all of it. And
Daily,
it's fine.
yeah.
It's our agreement.
Yeah.
But like don't come for me in what I'm wearing
I
when
know.
I'm up at night.
I know. It's all jokes, y'all.
love you.
Well, most of it is jokes, but we've had this. We've
had
obviously
this conversation.
we've had this conversation before.
And I've been stepping it up, y'all. So
you have been stepping up. You have been
let
stepping
the
up.
mamas know.
And because of
put
that,
some effort in it and try to figure out what works for you to wear before bed, during the night, when you're up out of bed taking care of the children.
Yeah, teach
because
them.
it does matter.
teach them, like what to put on, what to put some creams on, all that stuff. No, it helps. You stepped it up, and honestly, like we 3-4 times a
when we
week.
announce baby number 3, that'll be like,
Yeah, they'll know why.
they'll know why.
Don't know why. But I say all that to say, like, it's crazy. Like when we become parents, we become mom, we become dad, we don't even know that we're changing, and we don't give each other grace that your partner is learning a new title for the first time as well. And you're trying to figure them out while they're trying to figure
Right.
you out. And I think what I want to really just say to young parents, new parents, is I really want to encourage y'all, like, really give each other grace.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to give each other time and space. Like, no, look at your partner and say, hey, I know this is complicated. I know this is frustrating.
Right.
I know it's not working out the way you imagined it working out. Same for me too as well. You tell me where you want me.
Yeah.
Tell me where you need my help. And literally learn to ask more questions. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we've learned, especially after the second baby. That one really threw a bomb in just our whole life,
Yeah.
and then, even for you, as a mom, you get it harder than I get it, because
Yeah.
for me, I just keep going through the stuff that I'm doing. Most guys don't put their goals, their dreams, and their passions on the side.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every single place that we've ever lived, all the 6, 7, 8 condos, townhouses, apartments that we've ever lived in, I've always had a music station and a studio and all those type of things. We didn't even have to discuss that,
Right.
right? But for you, it was very easy for you to like not even have to think about that, because it's natural for a mom to give up stuff
Yeah.
like certain things. And I want to say this to um, husbands. And some people might say, well, what about baby daddies? Become a husband, right? I want to say this, like, learn to cheer on your girl. Learn to cheer on your wife, to say, babe, I love you and I love that you're devoting everything to the kids. But I really want to encourage you to, like, don't lose yourself. Don't forget those dreams that we've had, the talks that we've had,
Yeah.
the visions that you used to share with me. Like, it's our job as men to encourage you and come alongside you, because if we're not careful, we'll let you lose yourself in the kids,
Yeah.
because it's easier on us to do that. Because
It
if
is.
if I'm going to encourage you to chase your dreams, that means I got to step in more.
That's
And most men
so
don't
true.
want to do that, because they enjoy,
That the
like,
wife takes care of everything.
bingo.
And it is true. Like, if you are a woman who has dreams of things like that, it's so easy to just think that those dreams are not important and that your children are the most important thing. And they are very important. They are our first ministry of what God has blessed us with in our hands to mold and to shape and to raise up in a certain thing. So there is no lack of importance of what you're doing with your children. With that being said, if God has placed something inside of you, there are also importance in those things as well. And we have a responsibility to do those things that God's called us to do alongside raising children. And that's been a really hard walk for me to learn. I took over the children's director position, and Brooklyn was like 1.5
Yeah, children's director position at our church.
at our church, and it was the most challenging thing to do with her on my hip. She had like separation anxiety. She was sick a lot. Like, I mean, I had one day that I held her for like 5 hours, and my arm was so sore the next day because she was really, really sick.
Yeah.
And I had to work. And those were seasons where I just learned that God had graced me to do it at the same time. Sometimes moms have the luxury of like letting their children be taken care of by somebody else while they go work on their gifts and their talents and the things that God's placed in their heart. And sometimes we just got to do it all at the same
Right.
time. And I would just encourage any mother, whatever God has called you to, if he's called you to the home, do it as unto him and do it to the best of your ability. And if he's called you to do something else outside of the home, do that and do that well and take care of your home at the same time. But whatever it is, he has called you for it, and he has like empowered you to do it exactly how it needs to be done.
Yeah. And the last thing that I really want to encourage people to really think about is, as you guys are changing, don't forget to let your partner know when you've had new revelations in life, when you've had new ideas, or you've had an epiphany. Like, share it with your partner, right? There's been times I'll come on and say, babe, I just had this crazy thought and really a mind shift, right? And I've had to share with you. There's been other times, go back and listen to another podcast, that one time I just became a minimalist
And threw everything away.
overnight. And I said, hey, babe, we're minimalists now. Let's throw everything away.
And he was like, you only need one pair of
Yeah,
shoes.
I've been listening to this podcast for the
Sir.
last 3 days. We only need one pair of shoes. Trust me. They also said that she's like, it sounds like you're in a cult.
I did
And I was
say
like,
that.
calm down.
It
It's
was
not a
really
cult.
strong.
It's not a cult. It's a group of us. It's a group of us, right?
Does that thing bring you joy?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That was what I used to say. I said, does that thing bring you joy?
Yes.
Well, no, then throw it away, right? So, but honestly, like, it's really us making decisions to say, we want to grow together.
Yeah.
Because here's what happened. Every time we hear people, break up, or we hear about divorces, those type of things, we hear, we've heard terms like, I just don't love them anymore, or we just
grew
fell,
apart.
or we grew apart, or we fell out of love. And I'm like, I actually believe growing apart. And I actually believe when people say they fell out of love.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
actually makes a lot of sense because we have to lean into it and we have to make a decision to love each other every single day and efforts that we're making. And when they say we grew apart, I'm like, I actually believe you when you say you grew apart because that's a real thing because you both are growing.
Right.
Like, and that's what happened to us when we became parents. We both were growing. I'm growing, you're growing, I'm growing, we're growing, and we weren't growing apart. And I think that was the biggest thing for us. Like when we became parents, a few years into it, we realized like, man, we really got to talk more. And we've learned now to start having conversations like, I don't know, what do you think? Or today, Jordan asked me a bunch of questions in the car after school pickup. Well, when I dropped them off today, and when I picked them up today after school, and my answers was I said, son, that's not a question I could answer without your mom.
Yeah.
I said it 2 times today without even thinking. It's my nature.
Yeah.
It's my nature now. It wasn't early on because early on I'd be like, yeah, buddy. And
Right.
then you tell him, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I told him I didn't know you told him. Now he'll ask me a question. I say, I can't answer that question without your mom
Yeah.
because I need to be locked in and synced in with her. And so that's been my biggest advice to really new parents, young parents. And honestly, I mean, everybody that's in relationships is really us learning to communicate better when we feel like there's changes, new ideas, revelations, epiphanies, thoughts happening in our lives. The people that you're walking with, just share that with them. And that's what happened to us. Parenting was the biggest thing. When I became a dad, I changed.
It's true. Me too. And I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for how much it's shown weaknesses of mine that I've really had to work on and really, really dug through and been like, okay, I need to work on this. Okay, I need to work on my patience. I need to work on my words. I need to work on my patience, honestly, with you. Like, because of the sleep deprivation or my frustration with a baby, I could take it out on you, and that's not fair to you. So just working on those things.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, what we talked about of like not losing sight of the dreams and hopes and visions that I've always had for myself. My children are so, so important,
Mhm.
but so are those gifts that God's given me. And so I have to raise both.
Yeah, yeah, man. So you guys that are in this parenting, you guys are doing great. Keep doing it, and don't say, "Man, I have a hard time being patient with my spouse, or I have a hard time giving grace to my spouse." Well, you give grace to your kids.
I was going to say,
You're
too,
patient with your kids.
don't forget, y'all are on the same team. We have a friend couple that are about to have a baby, and I wrote at their baby shower, the best advice I could give them was don't forget you're on the same team.
Yeah.
The children, they're on another team, but
Hmm.
you and I are on the same team because it's so easy to feel like it's me and a baby against you
Right.
or me and my kids against you because you're wrong. And like remembering that no, it's us first, and then us as a team take care of those kids.
Yep. That's crazy. But that's all I got for this conversation today.
All right, y'all. So raise those children, communicate, do your best. And all you moms out there, don't forget the dreams that are inside of you. We love y'all. Let's dig.